This video will provide an overview of the changes made in RCB, SLB and PTD version 2, and is for users who are already familiar with the INDUCTA software. Released on August 2020, this major update is free for all users with an active license. This update sees the implementation of a new graphics engine that not only makes the software look better, but makes modeling, editing and extraction of results easier. Modeling principles and basic functionality of the software remain exactly the same. Any changes that have been made to existing functionality should be minor and should be intuitive. So if you can use the software, you will be able to pick up and use version 2 without any issues. The only changes to take note of are changes to snapping. We can now have more than one snap setting active, and changes to cumulative selection. We no longer hold the Shift key when we select more than one item one after another. We now hold the Control key to be in line with how other software functions. Let's jump into the software and have a look at some of the changes that have been made in version 2. The first one we'll talk about are the changes to the snap settings. So we've tried to make them simpler to use and easier, and basically, if you don't want to change them, you can just go ahead and start modeling with the default values, and really it should be very simple and intuitive. So as per the old version, snap settings are changed in the Home tab, but we can also change them via the bottom ribbon so that if we are away from the Home tab, we can start modifying our snap settings. The main difference is that we can have more than one snap setting on at a time. By default, snap to grid and snap to object will be on. Within snap to object, it will default to snap to node, which is the old snap to corner. We also have the old settings of snap to edge, snap to midpoint, plus we have a few additional ones, snap to intersection, perpendicular, and snap to shape and snap to cut also return from the old version. So right now what I've switched on is snap to grid and snap to object with node, midpoint and edge. We'll start drawing elements and we'll see how all of this works together. So with multiple snap settings on, the software will snap based on a hierarchy. So let's zoom in and we'll start drawing a column, and if we zoom right in, we can see that we see a light blue line of the shape of the column that will be drawn. We see a symbol based on where the software will snap. So in this case we see a cross representing snap to grid. We see the coordinates of the location where the object will be snapped to. So this is when drawing new elements, also when editing existing ones. And this is all in addition to the mouse cursor. So with snap to grid, if we just click somewhere, the column is snapped to the minimum grid spacing. So the minimum grid spacing is set under Settings, Grid Settings, or can be accessed via the bottom ribbon. The minimum grid spacing is 100 millimeters by default and can be changed here. And it will always snap to the minimum grid spacing despite what grid is displayed on screen, even if the grid is off. By default, we have adaptive grid on, meaning that we will always see some grid. So as we can see, as I zoom in and out, the grid spacing changes just so that it doesn't become too cluttered. And if I zoom right in, the minimum spacing I see is 100 mil. If I switch off adaptive grid, it will always show this 100 mil minimum grid spacing step, but eventually it switches the grid off just so that the view doesn't become too cluttered with grid lines. Let's switch on adaptive grid again and start having a look at all of these snap settings in combination by snapping to some object. So let's zoom into this particular area, which is pretty busy, and we'll see how the snap hierarchy works. So the snap hierarchy works via snap to object takes precedence over snap to grid, and then within snap to object, the various snap to object settings take precedence based on their position in the list. So if the software finds multiple snap points within a certain area near the mouse cursor, it will snap to the one that has the higher hierarchy. So in this case, if it finds 3 snap points, edge, midpoint, node, it will always snap to the node point. And we can see that by moving the mouse along the edge of this geometry line or beam, and as we get close to this wall end, it automatically will basically take the snap to node as precedent. So if we zoom out, we can see it's always snapping to node. If I wanted to snap to edge or snap to grid just to the left of it, I could either switch off snap to object, or I could just zoom right in and then start snapping to the location that I want to. Now let's switch on the final two settings, snap to shape and snap to CAD. So what these two settings switch on is snapping to the shape defining the structural element. So with snap to shape off, we snap to basically the mathematical point of that particular element, being the column center, the wall, beam, geometry line, center lines. With snap to shape on, we can start snapping to the edge of a beam element, for example. So we have snap to edge on and snap to shape. It snaps to the edge, then the midpoint of the line defining that beam's shape, and we can also snap to the corner, the node of that shape defining the beam. Snap to CAD simply allows us to snap to CAD elements if they are visible. And again, we must have one of the other snap settings on with snap to CAD, just so that the software knows what to snap to. So in summary, we can now put multiple snap settings on, and the goal is to make snapping, editing, modeling much easier than it was before. The next changes we'll talk about are improved selection and improved editing. And we can see we have a new mouse cursor, and if we zoom in, as we hover the mouse over particular structural elements, we can see that we have dynamic selection, meaning the element that is to be selected is nicely highlighted for us. Selecting one of the elements, if we hover the mouse near one of the control points, we can see the mouse sticks to it, which makes it easier for us to edit that particular element. With CAD visible, we toggle between select inductor elements and select by CAD as we did previously, but the mouse changes for us, and the dynamic selection then changes to the CAD elements. So it should be easier to select CAD and inductor elements than it was previously. As mentioned before, holding control on the keyboard performs cumulative selection, whereas it used to be shift, we have now changed it to control. We've improved the other selection features, such as select by type, so we can only select by type elements that are present on that particular level. We can filter elements within a current selection. That can be done via the Home tab, and it can also be done via the context menu. Selecting particular elements, we can also select similar elements via the context menu very quickly. Changes made to editing elements are that we can now drag any inductor element that we see on screen, be it a line element or a point element. Previously we couldn't drag columns, but now we can. And we can see a rubber band denoting the display shape. For line elements, we can drag the ends, and we see the rubber band and the display shape. But we can also start dragging the center of the line element, which will drag the entire element, keeping its angle. We've also included dynamic inputs. That makes all of the editing features a bit easier to use. So for example, if we were to select these walls and select copy, it will show us the display shape of the elements, where they will be before we commit the operation. And the final major change made in version 2 is the ability to create multiple views of the same model. This is in RCB, but also in PTD and SLB we can create multiple views of the same floor. Views can be created, closed via the View tab on the left here, and by default we just have one view of the floor that we're working on. Changing the level as per the old way will change the view to the various level that we have set active. To create a view, we go Add View, and as we see, we can create two views of the same floor. We can move these views, dock them side by side, put them on a different screen, and changes made in one view are automatically applied to other views. So adding columns in one view, deleting those columns in the other view. And all of the Home tab buttons, the Properties tab buttons will take effect on the active view. So let's go up one floor, and if I was to put those columns in again at this location, we should see them appear in this other view. And we can also create a 3D view by hitting Add View and pressing 3D. So this should make editing of the model much easier with multiple views. And also when we are viewing our results, we can have multiple views open and show different results in different views. In summary, version 2 implemented a new graphics engine with the goal of making modeling, editing, and extraction of results faster and easier than the old version. This video just provided a brief overview of the new features. For more in-depth information about these new features, please refer to the manual.